What if I told you that the difference between the life you have right now and the life you dream of is just one thought away? Not a lottery win, not an overnight business success, just a shift in the way your mind operates. Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the truth. Every millionaire, every top performer, every person living the life you envy started with a single powerful thought that changed everything. Here's the catch. Your mind is already manifesting every single day. The problem, most people unknowingly use it against themselves. Every doubt, every I can't, every worry about bills, it's silently programming your reality. If you keep thinking like the average person, you'll keep getting average results. But the moment you rewire your thoughts to align with abundance, opportunity, and confidence, the world starts bending in your favor. Imagine walking into a room and knowing deep down that everything you desire is already yours. Not someday, not if you're lucky, but because you've trained your mind to attract it like a magnet. That's not magic, it's science and mindset combined. And I'm about to break it down step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to take control of your mental blueprint, erase the hidden thoughts sabotaging your success, and replace them with patterns that pull wealth, opportunities, and the right people directly into your life. And here's where it gets exciting. What I'm about to share isn't reserved for the rich or gifted. It works for anyone who's willing to think differently starting today. So before you assume this is just positive thinking, stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll see why your thoughts might be your greatest untapped asset or your biggest liability. Every decision you've ever made, whether it led to success, failure, or somewhere in between, started with a single thought. But here's the part most people overlook. Thoughts aren't harmless daydreams floating in your head. They're blueprint. Each one sends out a subtle vibration, influencing your emotions, actions, and ultimately the opportunities you attract. Think about it. Two people can be in the exact same situation, same city, same economy, same challenges, yet one thrives while the other struggles. The difference isn't luck or connections. It's the invisible programming of the mind. One person constantly thinks, "I'll figure this out," and their brain begins scanning for solution. The other silently repeats, "I can't afford this," and the mind shuts down, filtering out any possibility. Your reality bends to match the frequency you feed it. This isn't some mystical concept pulled out of thin air. Neuroscience has proven that your brain builds neural pathways around your most repeated thoughts. The more you dwell on scarcity, the more your mind filters life through that lens. On the flip side, when you focus on abundance, on what's possible instead of what's lacking, you literally train your brain to spot opportunities that were invisible before. And here's where wealth comes into play. Financial success is rarely just about strategy or hustle. It's about aligning your mental state with the results you want. If you approach business deals, investments, or career moves with a mindset rooted in fear or desperation, you unconsciously repel what you're chasing. But when you think from a place of already having, your decisions come from confidence instead of need. Confidence attracts trust, trust attracts deals, and deals build wealth. The mind doesn't wait for proof before it starts shaping your reality. It responds to whatever you feed it right now. That's why people who believe they're destined for success often see doors open faster. It's not magic, it's alignment. The world tends to match the energy you put out. So if you've been waiting for your circumstances to change before you think differently, you've been doing it backward. Change your thinking first, and the rest follows, often in ways you couldn't have predicted. The key is to take control of the conversation happening in your own head, because that's where the real foundation for wealth is built. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, "There's never enough," or "I'll be happy when I finally have money," you're already seeing scarcity at work. It's sneaky. Sometimes it sounds like common sense. Other times it disguises itself as being realistic. But underneath, it's a mental trap that keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Scarcity thinking operates like a constant background noise, influencing every choice you make. It makes you avoid risks, cling to what you have, and measure every decision in terms of what you might lose. The result? You play small. You hesitate on investments, miss opportunities, and say no to possibilities, simply because they don't feel safe. It's the mental equivalent of holding your breath. You can survive for a while, but you can't grow. The shift begins with awareness. Notice how often you frame situations in terms of lack. Do you say, "I can't afford it," instead of "How can I make it happen?" Do you think about what you might lose instead of what you could gain? That tiny shift in wording matters more than most people realize, because your brain takes your words as instructions. When you tell yourself there's no way, your mind stops searching. When you ask what's the way, it starts hunting for solution. Replacing these patterns isn't about blind optimism, it's about training your thoughts to work for you instead of against you. Start by identifying one core limiting belief about money you've been carrying, often passed down from family, culture, or past experiences. Then flip it into an empowering belief that opens doors instead of closing them. For example, scarcity. Money is hard to come by. Abundance. Money flows to me through ideas, opportunities, and value I create. The key is repetition and reinforcement. You're not just swapping phrases, you're rewiring your mental filter so it starts spotting chances instead of dangers. Over time, you'll notice yourself making bolder moves, thinking creatively, and seeing options you used to miss. Here's the truth most people never hear. The amount of money in your life is not just a reflection of your work, it's a reflection of your mindset. The moment you stop thinking like you're in survival mode, you create the mental space for wealth to enter, and that space is where your best decisions and biggest opportunities are born. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't just measured in money, it's measured in vision. Most people set goals that fit their current circumstance. Millionaires set goals that stretch them far beyond what feels comfortable or even possible. They think in decades, not days. They design their life first, then figure out how to build the income to match. This isn't about daydreaming, it's about giving your brain a target so big it forces you to evolve. When you aim small, you make safe choices. But when you aim massive, every move you make is evaluated through the lens of, will this get me closer to that vision? That's when your decision-making sharpens and mediocrity stops being an option. And then comes the part most people resist: discipline. A millionaire mindset isn't just fueled by big dreams, it's powered by the unglamorous, consistent actions taken day after day. Early mornings, deep work sessions, saying no to distractions. These are the bricks that build the empire. It's easy to get inspired by the end result, but the true transformation happens in the routine no one sees. Risk is another pillar. Millionaires don't throw themselves into reckless bets, but they also don't freeze when opportunity knocks. They understand that safety is often an illusion, and that calculated risks are the toll you pay for extraordinary rewards. They ask themselves, what's the worst that can happen? I recover from it. If the answer is yes, they move forward, because the cost of inaction is usually greater than the cost of a mistake. Adopting this blueprint means constantly upgrading your environment, skills, and circle of influence. You can't think like a millionaire while surrounding yourself with people who settle for good enough. Your circle either expands your vision or shrinks it. Choose accordingly. The truth is, the millionaire's advantage isn't luck, background, or even starting capital. It's a set of mental rules they follow relentlessly, rules that force them to think bigger, act faster, and recover quicker than the average person. Once you start applying those rules, the gap between your current reality and your ideal life begins to close, and often much faster than you imagined. Before anything exists in the physical world, it's born in the mind. Every skyscraper was once a sketch, every billion-dollar company was once an idea, and every breakthrough started with someone daring to picture it before it was real. That's the essence of visualization, using the power of imagination to create a mental blueprint so detailed, your brain begins treating it as reality. When you visualize, don't settle for vague daydreams. Get specific. If your goal is financial freedom, what does your morning look like? What kind of home are you waking up in? What's on your calendar for the day? The more details you add, the colors, the sounds, even the scents, the more your mind attaches to it. The brain doesn't easily distinguish between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. That's why athletes rehearse plays in their minds before the game. They're programming their nervous system for success before stepping onto the field. The magic happens when you combine this with mental rehearsal. Instead of just picturing the end result, rehearse the steps to get there. See yourself confidently negotiating deals, managing investments, delivering a winning pitch, By running these scenarios in your mind, you're creating neural pathways that make the real-life actions feel natural when the moment comes. Here's the science behind it. Your brain fires the same neurons when you imagine doing something as when you actually do it. That means you can train yourself for opportunities before they appear. The more you experience success in your mind, the less resistance you'll feel when it arrives, because part of you will believe you've already been there. But there's one key rule: visualize from the perspective of already having it. Don't imagine wanting it, imagine living it. Feel the gratitude, the excitement, the calm confidence that comes with having achieved your goal. That emotional state is what attracts the right actions, people, and opportunities into your life. When done consistently, visualization isn't wishful thinking. It's a daily rehearsal for the life you're creating. You're not waiting for proof before believing. You're believing so strongly that the proof has no choice but to show up. What you say to yourself in the quiet moments when no one else is listening shapes the trajectory of your entire life. Most people underestimate this, letting negative self-talk silently sabotage their dreams. Phrases like "I'm not ready" or "I could never pull that off" may seem harmless, but they're planting seeds of limitation deep in your subconscious. That's where affirmations come in. A deliberate, conscious way to overwrite those outdated scripts and program your mind for success. Affirmations aren't just repeating empty words. They work because your brain responds to repetition and emotion. When you declare statements like "I attract wealth and opportunity effortlessly" or "I am capable of creating massive abundance," you're sending a clear signal to your subconscious. Over time, your mind stops resisting and begins aligning your thoughts, actions, and decisions with that reality. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible before, take decisive action without hesitation, and naturally step into situations that reinforce the beliefs you're nurturing. Positive self-talk goes hand in hand with this. It's the running commentary in your head that either fuels your growth or limits it. Catch yourself when you say, "I can't," or "This is too risky," then immediately reframe it. Ask, "How can I make this work?" Or tell yourself, "I am learning and growing with every step I take." Over time, this practice rewires your internal dialogue, turning fear into curiosity, doubt into confidence, and hesitation into bold action. Consistency is key. Affirmations and self-talk aren't a one-time fix. They're a daily investment in the most important asset you own, your mind. Start your mornings by stating your intentions aloud, and revisit them throughout the day whenever you feel uncertainty creeping in. Pair them with emotion. Truly feel the confidence, excitement, and gratitude as if your goals are already achieved. That emotional layer is what gives your words real power. Here's the secret most people miss. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between a thought imagined vividly and a reality lived. By consistently speaking success into existence, you're essentially rehearsing your future until it becomes inevitable. What was once just a goal starts to feel like a natural part of who you are, and that's when the universe begins to respond. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, wealth, and success, while others struggle endlessly? The difference often isn't skill, luck, or education. It's the energy they carry. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to raise that energy. When you consciously focus on what you already have, you shift your vibration from lack to abundance, signaling the universe to deliver more of the same. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you for the big things. It's about recognizing the small wins, the unnoticed privileges, and even the challenges that have taught you lessons. Each moment of appreciation rewires your brain to notice value instead of scarcity. You start seeing possibilities where you previously saw obstacles, solutions where you saw problems, and opportunities where you once felt blocked. The science behind it is simple. Gratitude activates neural circuits associated with positive emotion, reward, and motivation. Your brain begins to release dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals that make you feel happy and energized. That emotional state is magnetic. People notice your confidence, doors open more easily, and your intuition becomes sharper. Essentially, gratitude tunes you to the frequency of abundance, making manifestation faster and more natural. To harness this power, commit to a daily practice. Start each morning by listing 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. No matter how small, visualize them. Feel the appreciation in your body, and let that emotion set the tone for your day. Before bed, reflect on what went well and express gratitude for the progress you made. Over time, this simple habit becomes automatic, reshaping how you perceive life. Here's the game-changing insight. Gratitude doesn't just attract wealth in the material sense, it transforms your mindset, making you proactive, creative, and open to opportunities you might otherwise overlook. The more you cultivate this perspective, the faster your desires move from imagination to reality. Remember, the universe responds to energy, not wishful thinking. When your energy is rooted in appreciation, abundance is inevitable. Your thoughts, actions, and environment begin to align with prosperity naturally. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's the engine that accelerates manifestation, turning ordinary intentions into extraordinary results. Thinking and visualizing alone can take you far, but without action, your dreams remain nothing more than ideas floating in your mind. The moment you translate thought into deliberate action, you bridge the gap between imagination and reality. Every opportunity you've ever wanted exists somewhere on the other side of movement, and inspired action is the bridge that takes you there. The difference between ordinary action and inspired action lies in alignment. Ordinary action is forced, hesitant, or reactive. You push through it because you have to. Inspired action, on the other hand, flows naturally from your clarity of purpose. It's fueled by confidence, intuition, and a deep sense that what you're doing is in harmony with your goal. When your actions are aligned with your vision, obstacles become challenges to overcome rather than reasons to quit. Recognizing opportunities is another critical skill. Opportunities rarely come wrapped in a perfect package. They often appear disguised as problems, risks, or unexpected circumstances. The person who is ready, aware, and aligned notices these signals and acts decisively. This is why your mindset matters as much as your effort. A person operating in fear or doubt often overlooks doors that are wide open, while someone with a clear, abundance-focused mind sees paths where others see walls. Execution also requires courage. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap that keeps millions stuck in perpetual preparation. Inspired action doesn't demand perfection. It demands willingness. It's about testing ideas, making adjustments along the way, and moving forward even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Every step, no matter how small, compounds and builds momentum toward your vision. Remember, action without strategy can be wasted effort, but strategy without action is wasted potential. The key is to act decisively on the insights your aligned mind produces. Treat your intuition, your visualizations, and your affirmations as the signals. They are nudges, pointing you toward the next step. When you follow them consistently, the universe meets your movement with support, often in ways you couldn't have predicted. Ultimately, manifestation isn't just about thinking, feeling, or believing. It's about doing. The wealth, freedom, and life you desire are not waiting for luck. They are waiting for you to take the steps your vision has already revealed. The moment you act with clarity and purpose, everything shifts. Your mind is like fertile soil, and the people, environments, and conversations you expose yourself to are the seeds being planted. Negative influences act like weeds, slowly choking your growth and keeping your dreams small. You can have the clearest vision, the strongest mindset, and the most powerful affirmations, but if your daily environment is filled with doubt, criticism, or scarcity-driven thinking, it will erode your momentum without you even noticing. Toxic environments don't always announce themselves. It could be friends who constantly complain, colleagues who resist progress, or even family members who dismiss your goals as unrealistic. These influences sap energy, instill fear, and normalize mediocrity. Every conversation filled with negativity subtly programs your subconscious, reinforcing limiting beliefs you've worked hard to shed. The first step is awareness. Start noticing whose opinions affect your decisions, whose words linger in your mind after interactions, and whose presence leaves you drained. Once you recognize these patterns, you can set boundaries, limit exposure, or distance yourself from sources of negativity. It's not selfish, it's strategic. You are protecting the mental space needed for focus, creativity, and action. At the same time, intentionally surround yourself with people who elevate you. Seek out mentors, peers, and networks that inspire growth, encourage bold moves, and celebrate progress, rather than criticize it. When your circle models success and abundance, your mind naturally adapts to that frequency. Conversations shift from complaining to problem solving, from fear to curiosity, and from scarcity to opportunity. Environment matters beyond people too. The media you consume, the books you read, the social platforms you engage with all contribute to the energy you absorb daily. Curate them carefully. Fill your surroundings with motivation, knowledge, and stories of success. The more your external world reflects your desired reality, the easier it becomes for your internal world to match it. Here's the truth: success is rarely just about skill or effort. It's about the ecosystem you create around yourself. If your environment supports your vision, momentum becomes effortless. If it undermines it, even your strongest intentions can falter. Protect your mental space, choose influence consciously, and you'll see how quickly your confidence, clarity, and manifestation power expand. The fastest way to sabotage your dreams is to demand instant results. In a world obsessed with speed, it's easy to forget that true manifestation follows its own timeline. Faith is the invisible force that keeps you moving forward when results haven't yet appeared. It's the quiet confidence that what you're building is taking shape behind the scenes, even if you can't see it yet. Desperation is the enemy of manifestation. When you cling too tightly to outcomes, panic seeps into your thoughts and actions, creating tension instead of flow. This tension blocks opportunities, clouds judgment, and repels the very things you're trying to attract. Faith isn't passive, it's a steady, unwavering belief that your consistent effort and aligned mindset are already producing results, even if those results are invisible for now. Patience is the companion of faith. Most people give up too soon, assuming that lack of immediate evidence equals failure. The truth is, life is compounding quietly in the background, building connections, opening doors, and aligning circumstance. Patience allows you to trust that each small, deliberate step adds up, even when progress seems slow. It turns waiting into an active state of preparation, where you continue refining your skills, mindset, and strategies without frustration or doubt. Consistency is the engine that drives faith and patience into tangible results. The universe responds to repeated, intentional action more than it does to sporadic bursts of effort. Small actions performed consistently, daily affirmations, visualization, learning, networking, and taking inspired steps create momentum that compounds over time. What feels like minor progress today can become exponential transformation months or years later. Here's the crucial insight: manifestation isn't magic, it's disciplined alignment. Every thought, belief, and action is a vote for the reality you want to create. Faith keeps you casting votes confidently, patience ensures you don't give up before the results appear, and consistency guarantees those votes add up to unstoppable momentum. When you combine these three forces, waiting becomes productive, uncertainty becomes manageable, and the manifestation process becomes not only effective, but also empowering. What once seemed distant or impossible slowly begins to materialize, proving that trust, endurance, and relentless action are the true architects of extraordinary results. The life you've always dreamed of isn't waiting for luck, timing, or permission. It's waiting for you to master your mind. Every thought, every word, every action you take is shaping your reality right now. The people you surround yourself with, the beliefs you hold, and the energy you emit all determine whether you attract abundance or struggle in silence. Manifestation isn't magic, it's alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are consistently in tune with the life you desire, opportunities begin to appear naturally. Visualization, affirmations, gratitude, and inspired action aren't just techniques, they are the tools that transform possibility into reality. The secret is persistence, trusting the process, being patient, and showing up consistently even when results aren't immediately visible. Remember, wealth and success start in the mind long before they appear in the world. Train your thoughts like a millionaire, speak your reality into existence, and take deliberate steps toward it every single day. The universe responds to clarity, courage, and commitment. Your journey begins with the decision to think differently, act boldly, and believe without doubt. Start today and watch as your mindset becomes the magnet that pulls the life you've been imagining into your hand.